13th night is almost over, and something heavy weighs on Jessica's mind. Everything has been moving so very quickly, and the speed has only continued to pick up. Welcome back, everybody, to Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. I feel as though we are barreling toward the end, so that is why you're seeing so much vampire on the channel, because once we're at the end, it's over, and we may push this game to the side feeling like it's been completed. I do wish to go see the nosy reporter, though. Visiting Sophie's haven, the doorman stops you. You've been here enough times that he recognizes you and says there's a note left for you. You ask about the person who left the note, and the doorman gives a description that can only be Frank Doherty, the reporter. Once you get the note, you step aside to read it.
I have what you asked. Everything, all the details. This is crazier than you can imagine. Come to meet me at the Beautiful View Motel in Queens. I'm waiting for you.
The note is unsigned. On impulse, you return to the street. You didn't have anything important to do with Sophie anyway. It would be much better to come back with real information. Stepping into the Beautiful View Motel, you can't help but think that the name makes promises that the building fails to deliver on. Outside, there's nothing but an ugly parking lot, empty. The paint marking the parking space is almost completely worn away. Standing in the lobby, it feels like there's decades worth of stale cigarette smoke. You're happy not being able to breathe anymore. The furniture looks like it was picked up from a yard sale in the 60s. There is something appropriate in the grubbiness of the surroundings. They fit the image you have of Frank perfectly. It's appropriate to find him in a place like this. You nod to the old woman manning the reception desk. She seems totally uninterested in what you're doing, her eyes glued to the small TV perched on the desktop, a cop show. Walking deeper into the motel, you find a lounge that might have aspired to a kind of lavish comfort in its glory days. Now it just feels sticky, like you need to wash your clothes afterward. Frank sits on a bar stool. There's no bartender, but Frank has a shot glass in his hand anyway. He looks even sweatier than usual. He fidgets with the glass in his hand as if he wanted to give a good impression but couldn't suppress a nervous tick.
I hope you're ready, because I have everything you asked for. Frank Doherty is a professional after all. Yes, indeed. They try to smear my name, but I get the story.
You look nervous.
You'd be nervous too if you've been fucked over as many times as I have. Once they think you're the bad guy, they just start making up lies about you. It doesn't matter what's true and what ain't.
Frank seems to be in a strange mood. Hard to read. Maybe it's just the alcohol speaking, but something is off about him. Yeah, this is a trap. They're using him. Who's they, Frank?
Everyone. All those assholes who thought they were smarter than me. If you're a reporter, you make mistakes. Everyone does. You make enemies, you get facts wrong. So why was I singled out?
You're not sure you can get anything out of Frank. He's throwing himself a pity party and decided to invite you. You decide to try one more time. We made a deal, Frank. Frank sounds like he has plenty more bitterness inside him waiting to come out.
Let me tell you something else.
An ear-splitting sound fills the lounge, and a bright flash blinds you. For a second, an irrational panic grips your dead heart. Is this sunshine? Are you going to burn to death in a cheap motel in Queens? As your vision adjusts, something whizzes past you. There's a series of thunking sounds, something impacting the bar. Frank is lifting the shot glass, miraculously still in his hand. A massive blood stain spreads across his shirt. For a bizarre, incongruous moment, you stare at the thing sticking out of Frank's chest. It's a crossbow bolt. Another two lie shattered next to the bar, having missed their targets. One missed you by a hair's breadth. Turning around, you see figures dressed in black tactical gear storming into the room in eerie silence. Perhaps the flashbang damaged your ears. They drop their tactical crossbows and lift up rifles. Who comes prepared with a crossbow? Frank slumps to the floor. A wooden crossbow bolt will paralyze a vampire, but struck through a human heart it kills. The scent of blood fills the air. Yeah, we're gonna We're gonna break through the front door here. You're a vampire. One of the kindred. Fuck it. What's a few more bullets? You'll mend. A man is lifting a rifle to shoot at you. You can't see his face through the visor of the black helmet he's wearing. The rest of the attackers are equally anonymous. 3 men and a woman looking like they were going to attack a terrorist base or a vampire nest. You run straight at them, jumping over a rancid sofa. The man in front fires by reflex, and you feel one of the bullets tear into your stomach. Oh well, nothing important there anymore. The only way out you know for sure is the one you used to come in. You run past the attackers in the direction of the lobby. There's gunfire all around you, but they take care not to shoot at each other. Your assailants are professional, well-trained, used to acting as a unit. You dodge as one tries to hit you with the butt of a rifle just as you dash toward the receptionist's desk. The old woman is nowhere to be seen. They tip her off in advance. 2 bullets hit you in the back as you try to reach for the front door. You feel them tear into your body. It hurts, but it's also exhilarating. A human being would have been killed. You're just thrown against the door from the force of the impact, still able to go on. You have just enough time to take in the parking lot. There are 4 SUVs parked by the motel's front door, all black with tinted windows. A man and a woman, middle-aged, dressed like detectives, stare at you in surprise as you run past them. One tries to yell something as you stumble out to your car, wrench the door open and turn on the ignition. For a terrifying moment, you fumble with the keys, but then the car starts and you floor it, careening onto the highway. As you drive, you check your wounds. You're healing the damage you sustained, but better stop by your haven for a change of clothes before you go see Sophie, even if you are in a hurry. You run into Sophie's building, tired and hungry from mending your body. The doorman looks at you anxiously as you dash past, unconsciously sensing your bestial nature. You pound on the door of Sophie's apartment, more for the sake of your own nerves than because you think it's of any help. After a few moments, Sophie herself opens the door and looks at you in surprise. She doesn't have her makeup on and her hair is disheveled. You've caught her on a night off. What happened to you? Looking pretty good for a disheveled. As you step into the apartment and follow Sophie to her living room, you see the remains of a party. Empty glasses, a faint smell of blood in the air. You have no time to contemplate Sophie's social life, however. It was an ambush. They were prepared. You compromised. Oh, f***. For a moment, Sophie's facade cracks. She looks tired, then she rallies herself. Sit down and stay calm. I'll check whether this apartment is still secure. You sit down, suddenly conscious of the vast gulf in experience between you and Sophie. She's managed to stay alive for a very long time and knows how to survive. You only hope that you'll survive along with her. For the next hour or so, you sit on Sophie's sofa, answering minute questions about Frank and the commandos who assaulted you. At intervals, she makes murmuring phone calls to mysterious contacts. After a longer while, Sophie lets you go. You should be safe, and more importantly, I should be safe too. I've taken measures to secure both our havens, but keep your eyes open nonetheless. You leave Sophie's apartment, wondering whether you'd survive another ambush like this. And the night ends, and the next morning dawns. You arrive at the leech pit, finding it less rowdy than the last time. The bar is still packed, but the scene is empty tonight. Instead, the old, crackling speakers are playing music that would probably sound like noise even on high-end hardware. Mia is nowhere to be seen, but you do remember she requested that you ask for her at the bar. You approach the bar as the bartender's done pouring a beer for an older guy in a grayed-out, fraying Iron Maiden t-shirt. She turns to you. What can I get you? Hey, is Mia around? No, she's not in tonight. She looks you up and down and a spark of recollection shines in her eye. Oh, yeah, that's right. She takes a well-worn book from behind the counter, some kind of young adult vampire novel, and flips through it. She produces a piece of paper from between the book's pages and passes it to you. She told me you'd be interested in reading this. You find a relatively quiet corner and take a look at the note. T wants to meet you. I'll arrange it, but you need to prove you're trustworthy. Look around the leech pit for a guy named Bruce. Buff dude, sleeve tattoo on his right arm. I'm 90% sure somebody's retainer. Sent here to spy on us by the cam. Get me the name of his master and write it on this card. Then return it. A retainer is kind of like a higher level contact, more or less. By rules, they're a little bit more experienced to purchase a retainer. A human who serves a vampiric master. Kindred rarely go without at least a few of these mortals, both for convenience and protection. It doesn't take you long to locate this Bruce. He sits alone in a corner, 2 beer glasses already empty on his table. You take a moment to consider your approach. Get him drunk and talk. Why is this red? Maybe because it means I can't. Oh, I think this means I can't do it. Presents. None of these are good, dude. Feeding opportunity, bar patron. You figure you have time to feed before confronting this guy. You feed, you keep your eye on him. I'll look for a good opportunity in the meantime. Wouldn't you know it, a half-passed out patron near the toilet is almost begging for somebody's attention. You prop him up as if to help him stand straight. His breath reeks of alcohol. You bite into his neck right above his tank top, careful to drink just a little and fast. You don't get to enjoy the full palate. It is the closest to a beer you've had in a while, though. The man slumps in your arms and mumbles something under his breath, and you settle him down gently near the emptied kegs in the back. Somebody will come and pick him up for sure. Temporarily sated, you turn your attention back to the task at hand. That's when you lock eyes with Bruce. He's been standing there, just meters away, and for a while you think. He slinks away through the main area and walks outside. He knows what you are for sure. You follow him out, expecting to have to run after him, but he's there, having a cigarette. Yo, had a feeling you'd join me. You smoke? He pushes a lighter close to you, the flame triggering a primal fear in you that forces you to take a step back and bump into another patron who's just leaving the bar. Hey, yeah, didn't think so. You've been staring at me in the bar before. What do you want? I'm here on business. I want to know who you serve, and then I'll be gone.
2 words. Blow.
He breathes cigarette smoke straight in your face.
Me.
He flicks a cigarette at you and you flinch. It's all it takes for him to dash away much faster than humans should be able to. He's bolting all right. Bruce, stop. Simple command, obeyed to the letter. You approach him and drag him into a nearby alley. He snaps out of your previous command, but now there's only a few meters between the two of you.
I don't know if I really want to be beating him up, intimidate him with violence, tell him his cover's blown. Let's try and get at the heart of it here.
Listen, your cover is blown. I was told who you are. You better come clean. Your master's name, that's all I need.
Bullshit. Besides, she'd kill me if I told you, and I quite like being alive. Intimidate him with violence or just beat him? Just beat him.
You clash. You're not great at trading blows, but Bruce clearly doesn't feel comfortable fighting a woman, and with your powers, his punches barely register anyway. It takes a few moments to beat him into submission, but a precise kick to the groin sends him to the ground. His face swollen and his hands protectively placed over his nuts, he gives in.
Ah, what the you want from me?
Your master's name. Now.
It's Samir, alright? Her name's Samir. Just leave me the alone, you crazy bitch.
You throw one last kick at the pathetic asshole's extremely punchable face for good measure and make your way back to the leech pit. Time to leave something for Mia. You borrow a pen from the bar and turn Mia's note to the other side. Bruce mentioned a she, so his master must be female. But that's all you've got to go on. What?
What? He gave me the name. What are you talking about? Samia or whatever, right? Like, what? Wait, what? I thought okay. Man, what? I'm very confused, dude. Unless that's her first name and I'm just forgetting it, but I'm just not gonna leave a name. On second thought, you doubt the anarchs would appreciate leading them astray. You leave the page blank. You pass the piece of paper to the bartender. She sticks it back in the same book. Hold on a second. She wanted me to pass something on to you. She produces a cell phone from behind the cover. It's ancient, at least 15 years out of date. Oh, right, and this? An old charger for the piece of junk in your hand. They really did think about everything. She said she'll be in touch. It takes a moment to remind yourself how to operate this thing, and you find the phone book is blank. There's no Wi-Fi connectivity, and no messages left. It's got a version of Snake, though. The bartender is already over the other end of her domain taking orders from patrons. With your anarch contact nowhere in sight, you decide to move on for the night. Hopefully Mia will still call you, even if you've left her with no new information whatsoever. You can't bring yourself to count on it, though. I'm very confused about why that went the way it went. I do not understand. I want to go to do Juno and Agathon, though. That's the most interesting to me of all of them. You know what to expect when you return to the small bookstore serving as Agathon's haven. The cacophony of occult imagery assaults you from the book covers displayed on the window, but under the fake facade there's something real. This time, the Buddhas and the satanic Bibles of the storefront seem almost funny. Or perhaps you've just started to tune into the dry humor of these Tremere. Just as you're about to ring the doorbell, the door opens and Agathon storms out. You step aside just in time to avoid him having to stumble into you. Jessica, what are you doing here? I'm window shopping for books that would help me understand the wicked beast I've become. Agathon looks at you and sighs. Please, no jokes. I don't have the energy to deal with your attempts at humor. Agathon walks to his car with you in tow. It didn't occur to you the last time, but it's a surprisingly pedestrian vehicle, an aging mid-size family sedan. You imagine what it would look like with a baby seat in the back. Opening the door on the driver's side, Agathon notices your look. Laugh all you want, but it's inconspicuous and practical. You sit in the car and Agathon starts driving in his usual careful style. At least you'll never be stopped by traffic cops. It seems Agathon is not interested in small talk. I love a good mystery as much as the next kindred, but at some point you have to tell me what we're doing. Let me ask you a question in return. Have you ever tasted animal blood? From sheep, for example? New York is not the best place to hunt for wildlife, you know. You'd be surprised. There are plenty of pigeons, rats, dogs, cats. But your instinct is correct. Animal blood tastes vile. If it didn't, our own lives would be very different. Anyway, something to think about. You exit Manhattan over the Brooklyn Bridge and soon reach the site of the nightclub that seems to be your destination. It's on the riverfront, a converted former warehouse. After Agathon has parked the car, it's time for you to enter the nightclub. You glance at the Tremere, evaluating him. It's obvious it's not his kind of place. I'm getting slightly distracted because I think the audio is also bugging out right now. I've got like restaurant sounds, street sounds, it's all blurring together. I feel like the game's having a hard time. You may have worked in finance, but your colleagues got to some crazy shit if they did enough cocaine. You're not a party girl, but you don't stand out in a nightclub. Agathon does. There's a good chance the research notes are here. Let's not waste any time. Excellent. There's a line to the club. It looks like a popular night even if based on the crowd. This is not exactly a place for supermodels and celebrities. You walk up to the man at the door and smile. Hey, you remember me, right? Mind if we go in? The bouncer looks at you, taken in by your supernatural charisma. It doesn't matter whether he really remembers you or not. Sure, go right on in, have a great night. You walk into the club, ignoring all the people standing in line. The music beats down on you, bringing in with it memories of a human existence. The first time you went dancing with friends, when you flirted with someone on the dance floor. This time, it's different. You're a predator, and everyone around you is prey. Tightly packed, twitching sacks of blood and tissue. You sense the emotions all around you. Blood tinted with happiness, lust, rage, jealousy, love. A buffet of sensations. Focus. Keep an eye out for trouble when I look for what we came to find. You nod and follow Agathon through the throng, trying to ignore all the warmth, flesh, and circulating blood around you. We're gonna feed because we've used a lot of our power. You decide that the opportunity to feed has been handed to you, and it would be churlish to refuse. A young Latino man is dancing close to a beautiful, drugged-out girl. She takes his face in his hands and kisses him on the mouth. You slide close to them and sink your teeth into the man's neck. He moans from the pleasure of the kiss, and the girl assumes it's because of her. You check to see nobody is watching and lick the wound closed before disengaging and returning to look for Agathon. See, we still have blood around, so we were probably really close to hungry, or even hunger frenzying. You find a young, intense woman pointing a finger at his face. Agathon, you traitor! Don't you dare stand between me and what's mine! You look at the woman in surprise. Her appearance stands in contrast with the anger in her words. Juno, you know Ailing. I was told it's pronounced Ashling, actually, so I'll pronounce it that way from now on. Juno, you know Ashling will not let you leave with the notes. Perhaps she won't let you leave at all. Juno pulls close to Agathon's face and stage whispers loudly enough for you to hear her over the music. You're still so brainwashed you care about 8 Ashling f***ing Sturbridge wants. I'm done jumping through her hoops. I don't know what I saw in you, Agathon. You're such a lapdog. Look, are we sure we want to talk about all this in the middle of a dance floor? Do I look like I care about the f***ing masquerade? You look at Juno in genuine shock. From Sophie, you've understood that the masquerade is a universal among kindred. Juno, you don't mean that. You're not suicidal. F***ing watch me. Juno, please. Juno steps back, suddenly cold, ignoring the people dancing all around. She stares hard at Agathon. The past is the past. The traditions are dead to me. You won't stop me, Agathon. I'll make sure that here and now, you know I have that power. Ooh, we should go and Sabat right now. No, Juno, please. Agathon sounds panicked. He's not worried about his own survival, but of the possibility that Juno is going to unleash a genuine masquerade breach. We could immediately try and presence her, but why don't we try to reason with her first? Or just sucker punch her. She doesn't seem very possible to be reasoned with. Let's punch her. You step toward Juno and punch her in the face as hard as you can. Her nose flattens and she grunts in pain as her body crashes into the dancing people behind her. In a few short seconds, you've caused a general panic at the nightclub. Good. I was kind of hoping that. Because then if there's people panicking, it's harder for her to breach the masquerade. People pick themselves up from the floor, screaming, try to push their way outside. The music stops and lights come on. Suddenly you're blinking in the cold, white halogen light. A young man is crawling away on all fours. Juno stands up. That was a mistake. You expect Juno to create mystical blood magic or just hit you in the back with her fist. You're caught flat-footed when she steps up and kisses you straight on the mouth. You feel something trickling from her mouth into yours. It should be blood, but it's not. Rancid, burning, choking. Juno's blood has become a toxin that scorches you from the inside. In a panic, you look to Agathon for help, only to discover he's gone. You try to croak out words and Juno touches you on the chest, smiling like the predator she is. You feel a sudden pang of hunger, as if the blood inside you has become sour and unusable. Juno flies across the room and crashes into a wall. You advance on her slowly as she stands awkwardly with what looks like a skull fracture. Your blow would have killed a human. Juno looks at you one more time before running into the crowd. We're done here, let's go. You're startled at Agathon's sudden appearance. He skipped the fight, but now he's back. This could be a masquerade breach. Let's hope the crowd is too drunk to supply details. You try to mend the damage Juno inflicted on you, but you're hungry and something is resisting you, as if the malign influence of Juno's magics persist in your body. You glance at Agathon warily. Does he command similar powers? Outside, you walk to Agathon's car and drive back over to Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan, heading for Agathon's haven. Juno mentioned some things that are personal. I trust your discretion in not talking about those things to Ashling. Your love life is your business. Thank you. After a while, you reach Agathon's haven and he parks the car. You walk to the occult bookstore and Agathon asks you inside. The smell of incense assaults you as before, making you grateful not to have to breathe.
You follow Agathon upstairs to find Aisling Sturbridge in an armchair reading an old book. She puts a bookmark in place as you come in. You were successful, I hope. No, I'm sorry. The notes had been there, but not anymore. That's a shame. I hope you won't run out of time. How did Sophie's little protege do? Agathon turns to look at you. Well, surprisingly well. That's a surprise. I'll have to give Sophie a compliment on her choice. We met Juno. Fortunately, she hasn't found the notes either. That's interesting. The High Regent turns to look at you. What was your impression of Juno Fledgling? She was very angry. I don't know what you people did to her, but she's pissed. What we did? Careful now, Fledgling. She made her own choices, bad as they were. Anyway, I have some things to discuss with Agathon. Go along now. You leave the occult bookstore, the cheesy mystical music still in your ears as you walk away. You wonder about what happened with Juno. Why is she so anxious to leave her clan? Can she really do that? Could you leave Sophie's service if you wanted to? The hunger calls to you. The city's skyscrapers, the seemingly never-ending sprawl of the boroughs, it's all a prison. You need to get out. You need to take back control over your life this instant. The memory of your sire's frosty blue eyes ridicules you, tempts you to show your dominance, to prove you have the guts to take what you want. Feeding, that's just the thing. Coaxing, no. Ordering a mortal to bend to your will, drinking deep of their lifeblood. Faces pass you by, though some look more ravishing than others. Any could do right now. You compose yourself, the rational mind fearing a blatant breach of the Masquerade temporarily winning over the beast in its compulsions. Calming yourself is a victory in and of itself. This semblance of command will have to do for now, but it won't last. You need to quench your hunger before it overtakes you and makes you lose control. Well, I can't really do that if you won't give me the opportunity. That's where we're gonna leave her for now. Yeah, but hey, we're still alive.